Well, we move to this as well. Gender-based violence and femicide have plagued communities in Umzumbe municipality. Between 2016 and 2020, the bodies of 10 women were discovered in Mdluli. They were reportedly murdered by a serial killer, but there have also been many other murders with bodies of women being found in various locations. Residents' complaints have gone unheard, and eNCA reporter Lethiwe Mdluli is currently in the area and joining me now to give us this update. Well, Lethiwe, good morning to you. And I suppose it's not a good one for residents out in the area who are complaining continuously about gender-based violence and femicide and the lack of action in ensuring that this comes to a stop.
Well, Dumelo, that's exactly what the residents here in Umthwalume are saying. We are in the rural area of eNCA, and I'm joined by a family who lost 2 women through gender-based violence. One of the women was abducted by the serial killer who was arrested back in 2020, who murdered 6 women in this area. And those women were found in a sugarcane field not so far from here. Another woman or a family member that they lost was killed by her children's father. But I want to bring in the family and speak to them about some of the initiatives that they need to see from government, because one of the issues that the residents is talking about or speaking to us about is the fact that the police have been unable to help the community. They don't really pay attention to gender-based violence cases, and this is why, or they think this is one of the reasons why these cases or women continue to be murdered in this area. I want to bring in Usisus Lethiwe. I want to speak to her about what happened in this family. Sister Te, thank you so much for joining us at eNCA. Ngicela nje uqala ungilandise nje kafushane ukuthi kwenzakalani to usisi wakho. We know ukuthi she was one of the women that was abducted by a serial killer back in 2020. Ngicela nje ungichazele ukuthi kwenzakalani.
Engakuchaza ngodadewethu walahleka kuyisonto futhi sasesontweni kwahlukana phakathi, so mayibuya ntambama wabuya kwangena icingo la dadewethu umngane wakhe emfonela, so mayibuya wagijima ngene ekhaya esitshela ukuthi ulethile call. So ngenkathi usisi wami ekhuluma necall yakhe elindi phone unele ebhizi elindile ifone yakhe, so maqeda usisi wami engakaqeda ukukhuluma nocingo wavele waphuma ngejubane endlini. Ila samgcina khona ukuthi waphuma wabheka ngakuphi asazanga njoba samthole sengasekho nje.
You know, sihlezi sizwa la ngama cases eMthwalume about abantu besifazane ababulawayo. Your sister unfortunately was one of those people, and you discovered that she was murdered by this person. Ikupho kunye senikuzwile mhlambe from amaphoyisa ukuthi kwenzakalani i-investigation, bake bantshela anything about it?
Emaphoyiseni ayikho into abasiza ngayo ngoba sakwahanjiwa kwethu kuyovulwa icase yokusho ukuthi umntwana ulahlekile. So basitshela amaphoyisa aphendula athi ehibadini station sakhona basitshela ukuthi ingane njobe ingekho ayilahlekanga isemadodeni. So sabuya sinalelo xhala ke sazigcina sesikwazi ukuthi thina njengomndeni nomphakathi sizisukume sizibambele sizibhekele thina ukuthi umntwana somthola kuphi ngoba silithola ngosize police station. And then noma sesimtholile nakhona kwicase azeyikho into esayitholayo eyayis-update thina njengomndeni ukuthi kwenzakaleni. Esakuthola nje sagcina sesitshelwa ngoba necala sasingalazi lalizothethwa thina singazi ezifamily. Satshelwa nje sesitshelwa emthimbeni nje wawubiziwe wemeeting, satshelwa lapho ukuthi ngoba kufikile uminister ubaba ubheka icele, sesitshela uyena ukuthi ngakusasa ila kuzobe sekuyothethwa khona icala laba solwa ababili abatholiwe. And then after that saya khona ngakusasa masifika khona wasitshela ukuthi case is closed. Yes.
Dumelo, I just want to explain what Mrs. Tembile is basically saying to me. She's saying that her sister disappeared back in 2020, and they started looking for her shortly after that. They went to the police station to ask for help, but unfortunately they were turned away, and the police unfortunately said maybe her sister had gone to her boyfriend, so they didn't offer any help. They didn't open a case when they went to the police station to report this. And that's when the family started looking for her on their own. And unfortunately, she was then found a few weeks later. She was killed by this serial killer. And unfortunately, the police never came to the family and told them about the investigation. They only found out through the police minister when he visited this area that the serial killer unfortunately had killed himself when he was in the police cells, and that the investigation was closed because of this. So there was no help from the authorities. But unfortunately, this same family suffered another fate where one of the women in this family was murdered by her child's father. I want to bring in umama uSmangele. Ngicela ungichazele nje ukuthi wena kwenzakalani to umama wengane. I know you told me that she was murdered by the person that she was in a relationship with. Ngicela ungichazele ukuthi kwenzakalani.
Unobuhle ngiba waphuma eya emsebenzini ekuseni ngabo 6. Ukuthi kwenzakalani nami angazi kwenzakalani ngoba sahlala thina sazi ukuthi kwangena ucingo luthi uzolala emsebenzini okuthiwa uzolala emsebenzini. Uma ngabe sithembe ukuthi ulala emsebenzini ngakusasa ngabo 11 kwangena ucingo oluthi asiphuthume phezulu kubo weingane. Umama weingane ulele sebabathe bambusa akavuki. Uma sifika khona ngempela umntanami ulele duze kombhede undlalelwe ingubo wambozwa ngengubo yokulala ulaliswe wengubo wambozwa ngayo ongathi umbozela ukuthi ubesethatha ezothathwa akhishwe. Hayi ke uma sifika khona ngempela uthula ukuthi kwenzakalani ke okunye ngoba uma womfana uthi umfana wafika kuyena endlini enkulu wazomtshela ukuthi usebulela uma weingane zakhe. Uma ngabe ke uma womfana uthi akakholwanga wathumela ingane uthi ingane uma ifika yathi ay ngempela ungathi uqinisile uthi uma ifika uma womfana ngempela yiqiniso yena wabe sedlula ngomnyango esethi useyisa emaphoyiseni usoyibopha. Thina sibange samfica kubabo wengane safika sesifica isidumbu sodwa yena wabe sebuya namaphoyisa ke sezokhomba ukuthi ngempela yiqiniso into ayisho ukuthi ubulela umuntu. Ukuthi kwenzakalani nami angazi ukuthi kwenzakalani kwaphela kanjalo nje akukunye kayi angibazi.
Amaphoyisa njengoba wayithatha wayihambisa emaphoyiseni icala la hamba kanjani use uboshiwe manje niyazi nje ukuthi kwenzakalani njengomndeni?
Kuthiwa waboshwa kodwa inyanga azange ayiqede ephakathi ungaphandle ngikhuluma nje angazi uthi kanjani. Okukhona kungithunuka kakhulu ke lokho ukuthi mina yasafarisha nezingane yena uyatanasa ngaphandle ngoba nomsesha azafike la kwama ngaze ngimbone kodwa imina ngize ngayihlupha ngaye epolice station ngayozwa ukuthi icala ngempela kanti iqhubekani ngalo kwayikhathe ngitshela ikhathe lithethwe icala nguMarch into bekuMarch wangitshela ikhathe lithethwe icala. Emva kwalokho angazi kwenzakalani wathi icala liyaqhubeka ke angazi ukuthi kogcina phi lokho kungiphethe kakhulu.
Okay, Tumelo, I just want to explain what Tuma is saying here. So her child was unfortunately murdered by her children's father, and the father actually confessed to murdering her. He then took himself to the police station and he was arrested. Following that, the family says they saw him walking 2 months later. The investigating officer never came to the family and informed them what was happening, and this is the reason why they have questions as to what happened with that case, because the man actually confessed to murdering her. So these are some of the questions that the residents have and this family also has. I want to ask them about the visitation by the MEC, because she's here for social development. She's going to be speaking to Izinduna community leaders about the scourge of GBV in the area. Mama, do you think the government is doing enough to combat the scourge of GBV? Mhlambe kukhona okunye abangakwenza noma nicabanga kukhona abakwenzayo kuyimanje?
Yebo kukhona abangasiza ngakho. Besicela nje ukuthi basilwele ngoba manje labantu esithi kuthiwa esizwa ngabo kuthiwa baboshiwe sekuyaba siyezwa kuthiwa ababoshwanga sebephumele ngaphandle. Kubhlungu ukuthina ukuthi umuntu enze into eyisihluku kanje siwumndeni sibone igazi lethu lilale phansi bese emvena lokho siyambona umuntu owenze lonto akenzanga lutho akaboshwanga akenzanga lutho. So nje nalo kubhlungu kakhulu ukuthina nalo kwathi uzibulele stoksini asikaze silibone ithuna lakhe noma sizwe kuthiwa uyangcwatshwa. So iyona into evele ivuka ibisilonda ngendlela eyisimanga ngoba asazi ukuthi noma ngathi siyachaza einganeni ukuthi imazi sibuza nje azikhulu ukuthi uzothi uma wenzakalani wagcina lo muntu ayembulela wenzakalani. So nje kubhlungu because akudluli akupholi kubhlungu nje besicela nje ukuthi bazame bandla ukusukuma bangenelele kulento eyenzakalayo ngoba manje hayi akukholakala akweneli kunokuba kwenele lento eyenzakalayo la hayi kuyaqhubeka.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu sisi. Wena ma ungathi mhlambe ugovernment uyayinaka kodwa lento bahlezi befika bezovashela le ndawo uyayinaka kodwa indaba ye GBV?
Mina angazi kahle kodwa bengicela ukuthi bandla basisize basilwele. Zaphela ingane zethu eMthwalume ababulali bangaphandle bayatanasa. Sicela nje ukuthi bandla ake besilwele into engiyishoyo ziphelile ingane zethu.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu boma. Dumelo, basically what they're saying is that they need the government to fight for women in this area. They've lost a lot of women in this area and there's been no action taken. Of course, we're going to be speaking to the MEC when we go to the meeting where she's, the meeting that she's having with community leaders of Izinduna and Amakosi in this area. We're going to get some answers from them as to why they are neglecting this community. I mean, they've heard of many murders taking place, but there seems to be no action. Even the police, they are turning a blind eye to a lot of cases and also a lot of reports from the residents. We need to know exactly what are they doing to try and combat the scourge of GBV in Umthwalume and within the Umzumbe municipality as a whole.